and welcome to our podcast, The Ups and Downs of a Small Business Owner, where we hope to show you exactly what it's like to grow a business.
Today's going to be an awkward or a strange one because I'm going to interview Katherine, my business partner. So I'm going to hear her side of Youtopia, which is going to be very different to my side. So what made you start your own business?
It seemed a good idea at the time, didn't it? Not so good now, is it? But I don't know. I guess maybe a bit of blind optimism, thinking I could do it better than other people. We already worked in the sector, so we could see what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just a challenge, isn't it? Actually, could we build something better?
So going back 5 years, that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to build something better than what you were working for.
I think so. Have more control over my destiny, make the decisions, see if they work or not, but not be too hung up with the fails. As long as we were moving, that was more important to me than just staying still.
Your kind of main reasons for starting was because you'd seen the industry and you wanted to do something different, something better yourself.
Yeah, I guess maybe pull together all of my career to date. So accountancy wasn't my first love, definitely, but all of those years working in corporates and in operational roles, and then later in finance, whether I could pull it all together to be able to build the sort of place I would have liked to have worked.
Again, if we go back to your very beginning, so 5 years ago, if there was one thing you could tell yourself, what would it be?
I guess don't get too despondent with the lows, because certainly in the early days there were plenty of lows. I never completely lost sight of the end goal or the continuing movement to improve. Because I'm a worrier, it can be really difficult. Some of those lows, especially, they were primarily cash flow, weren't they? So some of those lows were really deep. And would I have got out of it myself? I don't know. We kind of lifted each other out, didn't we, at different times? But yeah, just don't be too caught up on the lows. Like, keep your eyes on actually what you're trying to achieve to keep moving forward. And there are solutions to these. It isn't just, that you're in a hole and there's no way out. That's the benefit of owning the business, isn't it? There's always things you can change to move forward.
So essentially, don't worry too much about the lows. There's always a way out. Find the support around you, essentially.
Yeah, just try and lift your eyes up, isn't it? Because I think sometimes you can get sort of deep into a hole and you can't see a way out. You have to kind of try and raise yourself up from it.
Yeah. Okay. So again, going back, the hardest challenge, I think, is finding work. So how did you go about getting your first 5 or 10 clients? So I know, obviously I know, but we both kind of almost went our separate ways. I went and tried to find clients that suited me. You tried to do that, same for you. And when you've got no cash, you've got no kind of budget to do it, to get the clients, talk me through the first few and how you did it and what works.
Yeah, it's a magic question, isn't it? And I don't know that I've got an answer for that, really. I'd say we tried everything. And definitely, this is not my comfort zone at all. Sales and meeting new people and getting new business. It becomes easier once you know that you're proven and you have that validity, I think, from existing clients. So my first few, I guess, came through networking. I joined a women's networking group. It took a while, though. There are no quick wins on there, because it's all, certainly from my side, it's a lot more relationship based. And that takes a long time for people to trust you and want to trust their business in your hands. And I think it's a very privileged position, actually, that we're in. So I'd say through networking. We also joined the NatWest Accelerator. So we got some clients from there, but again, that was from being around other businesses in a similar position and just getting to know people, wasn't it?
So your first couple of clients then,
yeah.
Why did they sign up? When did they sign up? How long did it take you? Let's say, we started in February. You say it takes a while.
I'd say my first major client, although I started working with them maybe after 6 months before they became an official client, it probably was sort of 6-7 months, I would say.
Building that relationship.
And talking to them.
So how did you find them? Where did you find them?
So that was through networking, through a closed Facebook group.
Did someone recommend you, or was it just you?
No, someone asked for some help. I think it was for bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And I kind of jumped on it, I guess,
Right.
messaged them.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, no, don't worry, we found someone else, because they didn't think actually as an accountant we'd be interested in that type of work.
Right.
And then, I don't know, I kept the relationship going. And then that became our biggest client for a while, actually.
I guess that was from networking. What else were you doing to try and find people? Was it the networking that worked, or was it
I think the networking helped in a variety of ways, and not just actually doing the networking. So as part of it, I had to do a 1 minute update, round the table update, and even just preparing that 1 minute update for each month. Again, it just reinforces what you do, reinforces the message in your own mind as well. When you're talking to anyone, you've got it to hand. The other thing that I did was put myself forward for presentations. So I did a couple of 10-minute presentations to the group.
And you're not comfortable doing that?
No, that's not me.
That was well
I'm okay doing it, but the preparation and the...
So what caused you to step out of your comfort zone? Why did you do that? Because that's not out of choice, is it?
No, I mean, I was asked to do it, but also, a lot for me is just the challenge of it, isn't it? So I know that I'm capable of doing these things. I just wouldn't choose to do it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just have to force myself, put my name down, and then I only feel comfortable once I'm fully prepared. So then I would spend a lot of time preparing to make sure it was something that I was comfortable delivering. I'm trying to think of other things I did. I did a talk at Accountex as well, didn't I? So I was on a panel for that. So that was quite good again. So I'd say all of these things, although they didn't necessarily lead to someone signing up straight away, it was more about building my own confidence and honing the message of what we can deliver. That then it's like a ripple effect then, isn't it? Once people are confident with what you can do. So a lot of our work's come from referrals, hasn't it? So just by doing the work well, actually that big job that I landed then ended up
spiraling
into a few, which then builds again, doesn't it? So most of my work actually comes from referrals because I don't do networking anymore. It's all through word of mouth.
Fast forward a little bit. One of the next big challenges is always trying to hire someone. Talk me through the process. At what point did you decide, yes, you needed someone? When do you need somebody and when do you need to wait?
This is something that we've disagreed on a lot, isn't it? So I would always rather have the funds in place, know that we're lucky that we work on a subscription model, so we can feel quite confident with the income that we have coming in. But I was fairly adamant that we don't get someone until we can afford to pay them and pay ourselves. That wasn't something you necessarily agreed with. And also that they had enough work to do. There's nothing worse than joining a company and then not having enough work to do. But we decided to bite the bullet, get someone else in. The thing was, we wanted people like us, but not us, because that would have been annoying. So people kind of with our enthusiasm and mix of skills, and it's not easy to find.
Again, going back to that first hire, was it perfect? Did it work? Did it not?
I mean, we thought we'd nailed it.
We did.
They seemed perfect on paper.
In hindsight.
To be fair to us, I think it was a tricky time. Like, we hired just before COVID.
Yeah.
And then they joined 2 months into COVID. So it was before we had an office, just really difficult to onboard someone, and really difficult for them actually to work with two founders.
Was it because we had too much work? Was it because there was too much going on? As in, when did you decide that person was the right time to join? That was right.
Well, I would have rather waited another couple of months, but we didn't.
Right. That's down to me.
We knew that we needed people to scale, didn't we? And even actually, if we didn't have the right income level, if we became too bogged down in the work, then we couldn't expand. And that was the tipping factor, really, wasn't it? We needed to release ourselves from the day-to-day work a bit to be able to allow us to grow the business.
Yeah.
And it was exciting, wasn't it? It was the first step on our journey, really, that we were going to be growing the Youtopia team. Yeah.
And it's exciting, stressful, just about every emotion going.
And we were really heavily emotionally invested with our first employee. It was a massive thing for us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To be able to employ another person in your business.
It's almost that first big milestone. Other than getting money in, the next one is we've got somebody else.
Yeah, who was going to absolutely buy into what we're doing and would be here forever because they would be so excited by the Youtopia brand.
And how did that go?
It didn't work out, did it? But I mean, it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? Because we made a lot of mistakes. It was really difficult for them to join the company, difficult for us to bond with them. We didn't really have a work culture then. I would say it was just us.
Yeah.
Kind of in our own bubble, really.
And we were almost working independently as well.
We were in COVID. Yeah, that was really tricky.
So what would you say to somebody in that position? They're thinking about hiring their first person. They're feeling stressed because they've got too much on.
Just don't be hung up on finding perfection because it's almost impossible to find, isn't it? You know, we were looking for someone who was going to be with us forever and share our vision. Not sure it's realistic, really.
We were trying to find something that wasn't there, I think.
And I'd say as we've moved through different employees, we've recognised that now, haven't we? So we know that we can't hire the perfect person.
Yeah.
But we know that there are core things that we need, which are more soft skills, actually.
Yeah.
We need someone with the right soft skills and attitude, and we can teach them the rest. And they probably won't be here forever, but that's okay.
That first person you expected to be here forever, but you've now kind of come full circle and you've kind of decided that actually people have other goals, other views.
I believe it. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Right. Are you happy with your work-life balance at the moment?
No, but the ironic thing is that it's in my hands to change.
Yeah.
And I don't.
So which way would you change it? Would you want more personal life?
I think everyone wants to think that, you know, you'd be the least amount of time at work. Maybe that's the difference with being the owner, isn't it? That you don't always want to. It's part of your personal life. They're so intertwined that even, you know, when I'm at home, probably less now actually, but in the early days, 11 o'clock, midnight, I'd be pinging you a message, or I've just thought of this.
Yeah.
I'll just have a look at this idea, or could we look here? Just really exciting. I think it still is, but that early growth stage, there's so many possibilities, isn't there?
There's so much you can do.
Yeah.
And there's so much also desperation. You know, you need it to work.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So you almost try anything because nothing's proven at that point. So suddenly everything becomes a possibility.
Yeah.
And we weren't as busy. We didn't have as many clients. So we were able to invest that time in it.
So would you, because I would say you're actually a workaholic. I think you like the idea of this home life balance.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'd ever allow yourself to do it because you go full on and you work a lot. And even when you're on holiday, when you're away, you don't switch off. So actually, do you actually want that more time at home?
It's a really tricky one. I want to be more present when I'm at home, more present than I am.
Right.
But again, that's in my hands and I'm not.
That's more of a you thing than a work-life balance.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I find it very difficult to switch off from anything. I think I'm so determined that it's just always on my mind. And I don't actually, the stuff that I'm thinking about, I just actually quite enjoy it. It's not a chore to be thinking about how we can move the business forward and there's always changes to be made, things we can do better. That's almost not work for me.
Yeah. So you wouldn't change it to your work-life balance because you enjoy it.
Or that it should be better. I would definitely like to have a holiday and be able to switch off more. I think I'm getting better at that.
Probably getting better, but do you think you'll ever be able to do it fully?
No.
It's just a way of life, essentially.
And that's not because I feel I have to, it's just because I don't want to.
Yeah, okay.
Sure, this reflects very well on me as a person, if I'm honest.
No, I'd say it's actually brilliant. As a business owner, you are a workaholic. You can't switch off. You can't go away and just... Everybody views it as you have all this time, you can go and do what you want, but the reality of it is you don't, because you don't want to.
No, that's the thing, isn't it? You're choosing not to. We could...
Your brain says, yes, I want that perfect work-life balance.
Yeah.
Your heart says, we need to keep going, we need to do this, we need to do that. Like, it's your baby, essentially.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think people ever find that perfect work-life balance. Oh, they might do.
Different for different people, I guess, isn't it?
There might be people who say they find that perfect work-life balance, but I don't think, from what I've heard, I don't think it's possible.
employee, definitely there was a cut-off. Actually, not always.
It's a lot easier because you go in, you do your set out, you're paid for an hourly job.
Yeah.
Whereas you're not, as a business owner, you're not paid that hourly job, I don't think.
No, I guess I've never been great at switching off though, really. In most jobs, there's always something that I've taken home and thought about.
Which is why I think you're here.
Yeah.
Because if you could have gone home and switched off and done your thing, you probably wouldn't have wanted to do all this extra stuff.
No.
Next one then, what's your biggest lesson today?
What, of me personally or in the business?
So we'll go with business, as in it could be to do with you personally, but since running a business, what have you learned and it's taught you the most?
I guess what I've learned is that we can't always make the decisions, although it pains me, from the hard, cold facts. And sometimes, that's where I think we work together. Sometimes you just have to have that leap of faith. Otherwise, you wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because the numbers never stack up. It never works on paper. Actually, in reality, I'm not saying you're right. I can see your face there. No. It's a mixture of the two, isn't it? I don't think you ever want to put yourself at that much risk that it could just fall on its face. But sometimes we just have made it work. And I don't even know how sometimes, but it just has worked.
So you're an accountant, you focus on solely the numbers.
Yeah, this isn't going out,
but
is it? No one can hear us.
But what you're telling me is actually don't believe the numbers. Go on gut instinct.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the numbers are a good basis and it has helped us to form plans and benchmarks and to check our progress, which has then motivated us more, hasn't it, to see us achieve these things. But sometimes you have to add another layer to that and think, actually, I just believe that's going to work. So we haven't got to worry about whether it will all add up in 6 months' time.
Yeah. And
we can afford it now and we believe that's going to work. But actually, we can afford to bankroll it for 3 or 4 months. And because of who we are, we know that we will make it work somehow.
I think that's where you're switching between the accountant and the business owner. The accountant is, looking at the cold, hard facts. The business owner is going, we need to take a leap of faith to grow, to expand, to change the business. You have to go on gut instincts. Yeah, so that's been the biggest change for me, really, hasn't it? Because I feel more confident, immersed in the detail and the numbers and knowing, okay, I can almost tick the boxes. Yeah, that's going to work. That's going to work. That's going to work. I can see the future timeline of that. And I guess as we get more years through the business, we just kind of know that it does work. Yeah. There's that belief that we didn't have, wasn't so proven in the early days. It was more difficult to justify. Yeah. It was just touch and go, wasn't it? Just see what happens. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever thought this just isn't going to work? I've had lots of sleepless nights where I've been really worried, but I think it has come down to that final question each time. So we've had a few talks, haven't we? Yeah. And tears, mainly mine. Yeah. Probably all mine, actually. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I've cried at some point, but I can't remember it. Yeah. Where I've just thought, actually, is this going to work? And, the answer has always been, I don't know if it's a bit of blind optimism. Yeah, it will work. But there's certain, definitely doubts. Are we doing the right thing? And actually, is it the responsible thing to do as well, to carry on? But I never doubted it would work, actually. So even in them darkest times, you always had... When I came down to the final question, actually, should we just pack this in because it's not going to work? No, I couldn't. I always thought it would come good in the end. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned sleepless nights. So what are the things that would keep you up at night? Always cash. Always cash. Always cash. When you're running out? Yeah. So let's say you're talking to yourself now in them dark times. What would you say? The thing is, I can talk to myself and say, don't worry, but that's not who I am. So I know that even myself would say, okay, well, I am going to worry. I'm going to ignore that. It's not always down to the cash in the bank, is there? Like we were really lean. And I think actually that did help us, being accountants looking at it. There was nothing we spent that we didn't feel that we got a return on, apart from some of our marketing. But it was still a lesson worth learning. It wasn't dead money. So I knew that we were as lean as we could be. And actually, again, with that subscription model, it was just about getting the right number of clients on, and then it would just keep building.
and I knew what we were doing was good. It was a good service. So it was more about getting the word out, wasn't it?
Yeah. So something I've always said, and I've said it to one of my friends recently actually, is you almost have to hit them hard times to push you more.
Yeah.
Like if you've got money in the bank, you almost are a lot more relaxed, and you almost have to go to that point.
But also it was like you said, we keep moving the goalposts. So a big thing for us initially was even just to have £5,000 in the bank, because I didn't want to pay the bank charges for having a balance of less than 5,000.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a milestone for us. Now we don't even think about that number, do we? You know, we're fixed on other milestones.
You almost have to hit them hard points and not have the money in the bank and not have anywhere to go to drive you further forwards.
Yeah, it definitely focuses your mind, doesn't it? You know, and we were lucky, or I don't know, we couldn't raise business finance.
Yeah.
So we raised personal finance instead, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I guess that really is putting your money where your mouth is, isn't it, really? Do you actually think, you know, because that's a different dynamic. That's not putting the business at risk. That's suddenly affecting your personal finances. But again, did I ever think that, you know, I wouldn't get that money back or we default on that loan? No, not really. What we did do then was really sharpen our ideas on, like, well, yeah, we can get this money, but we've got to really use it wisely. So what do we do with this? It's going to move us forward. This isn't just to plug a hole that we're going to have to fill again in 3 or 4 months' time.
Again, you took out that loan, that personal loan. Essentially, at the time, I put nothing in because I couldn't. That's a lot of trust. Did anything go through your head of like, what could happen here? That's you putting your personal self on the line. Like, there's a lot of money there.
Not really, and that's probably a bit naive, isn't it? But no, I never felt that.
I guess that's good. Clearly, I didn't look that.
I mean, if you'd have run off and bought a car and gone on holiday, it would have been a bit different. But no, I didn't, because I just feel that we're very aligned on what we want to achieve, and it was a short-term problem that we needed a fix for, and as soon as we could, the loan was repaid, wasn't it?
It was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess this leads us on to the next one, is what has been your most stressful time?
I was really stressed as we started to scale. So we went from being really lean, you know, we had no office, we had no staff. We could be flexible, we wouldn't want to, but we could be flexible on what we paid ourselves if we had to.
Yeah.
And then almost in quick succession, we got our first member of staff. Well, they've got to be paid as a priority. We had our first corporation tax bills coming in, PAYE, in VAT, they all had to be paid as a priority. And then we took on an office in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
Because that was the right thing to do.
Because why wouldn't you?
I know. It was the obvious call.
You needed an office in the middle of COVID?
Yeah, with no one in it.
So that was your most stressful time? That
was stressful, knowing that actually now we've got to hit a certain number every month to just keep the business running without paying ourselves even. So again, that was always the final lever, wasn't it? So, if we can't afford like everything, then our salaries go.
So your hardest time was actually committing to ongoing costs?
I guess it was just the rising costs, wasn't it? You know, but again, we had to do it to move forward. And coupled with that it was the most exciting as well, wasn't it? You know, it was probably the biggest step change that we've had so far.
Yeah.
So it felt like we were a proper business at that point.
We became a real business.
Yeah.
Then what was your happiest time? At what point have you sat there and gone, yeah, I'm happy with how it's going?
Well, this is a personality fault, isn't it? You know what I'm going to say. I'm never happy. It's never enough.
So looking back, you've never been happy during that time? You've never gone, wow?
I'm content, but I don't celebrate the wins like I should, because my mind's already moved on to the next thing. Although I can hear that that's a bad thing, it's also the reason why we're moving forward all the time, that it's never enough and we're always looking for the next challenge. I don't know that I would ever look down and go, yeah, I'm really content and happy with this, because it's never perfect, is it? There's always room for improvement.
So are you happy where it is now?
I'm happy-ish.
but not happy enough.
No.
Over the 5 years, what you've achieved,
Yeah.
you're not happy with what it is.
Quite proud
Yeah.
what we've achieved to date.
It's not enough.
It's not enough, no.
Okay.
Actually, it is enough according to where we thought we were going to be on the plans, but it's not where I want to end up.
No. And you're continuously putting forwards, but are you happy with it now?
Content.
Not happy. Okay. What motivates you then? Why do you do it? Why are you getting out of bed, coming here to this freezing cold office in the winter?
It's all right in the summer. Why do I do it? I just keep coming back to this word challenge, really. Every day is like a new start, isn't it? There's new things to learn, new ways we can take the business. And that's kind of quite a privileged position, really, isn't it? As a business owner, we don't need to stay as we are. So that comes with it, the excitement of possibilities of what we could do, different things we could try. And I think that's becoming more exciting again. As we build the team, we're going back to almost the early days of having the freedom to just think or do we haven't done a whiteboard for a while, but just come up with ideas and try things. That's what I enjoy, really, the freedom of being able to try different things in business. It's quite privileged place to be, really. There aren't many people that can do that, have the freedom to do that. I'm really lucky. I enjoy working with my colleagues. I enjoy the clients that I work with.
I mean, you choose your colleagues, so that's quite good, other than one that you're stuck with.
Yeah. Yeah, the same with clients to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I feel quite fortunate, really.
If we go back to the beginning then, day one, what was the dream? What did you want to achieve?
I wanted to prove that I could do it.
Do what?
Build a business. To
be me and you, have an office. What did you see being the dream?
I guess build a successful business. What success to me is, I guess, a multi-million-pound turnover business that would be known within the industry.
So on day one, your dream was to build a multi-million-pound business to be known in the accountancy industry.
So I don't tend to have small goals.
No, that's fine.
I wouldn't say that we'd achieve that within 6 months, but that was the long term. That's where we're still heading, isn't it?
Yeah. So you've not achieved that then?
No.
So when we do,
it's the worry, isn't it, that you actually achieve it?
At what point will you achieve it?
When you've built a multi-million-pound business, that's known in the industry, where do you go then?
So that's been the dream. That's where you want to get.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Your goals won't change at that point.
Well, they'll have to, because once I've achieved it, I need something else, don't I?
Yeah, exactly. Who has had the biggest influence on your life?
I mean, always my go-to would be my dad in business terms, but I don't know where I get this desire to just keep moving forward, because I don't get that from him, really.
Right.
He can be happy as he is, which is something I envy, actually, but this continual need to push forward, I don't know where I get that from. But yeah, my dad, just very, he was an accountant, always very numbers focused, very calm and factual. That's where I get that side of me from, really. Never a risk taker.
But you took the risk and started a business.
I know.
And you took personal loan.
It wasn't going to fail.
You've gone through no cash and you've had all these times.
I know. I don't know where that comes from.
But you're not a risk taker.
I wouldn't say so, no.
Right. Well, I've done.
Because I don't feel that it was a risk. That's the difference.
Right. Good.
Do you think it was a risk?
No. Going back, I had no doubts that it was always going to work.
Strange, so. Yeah. That's what I mean. On paper, it's different from the reality, isn't it, sometimes?
Yeah.
So everything needs a context.
Again, on paper, you could have looked at this at times and gone, they're closing.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're coming back from it.
Yeah.
But in reality, we knew we had stuff in the pipeline. You knew you were talking to people. You knew you were getting yourself out there. So, that's different. So, if you were going to a dinner party, we're going for a dinner party, you're allowed to take one person in the world, any person, who would it be?
Well, that had to be related to business.
No, you can take anyone in the world. Who are you taking?
I think that's a tricky one, isn't it?
You're bringing somebody, and then you can ask them, a question or anything like that. Who would it be? And then it's going to be what are you going to ask them?
So this is a bit cliche, isn't it? My idol has been George Michael.
Right. You'd take him with you, and what would you ask him?
Do you know, and apart from the obvious, the reason I would take him is because, again, I feel that he just had this belief in himself that he was always going to make it. I mean, he had an incredible talent, but there was something in him that continually drove him forward, and almost an unhappiness. He never, from my view, he never celebrated his talent at the time. He was always moving and looking for something.
Right. So what would you ask him? You sat at the dinner table with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can ask him whatever you want. What would be that one burning question you'd want to ask him? Or wouldn't you? Would you just sit quiet?
Just sit and, just ask him to sing.
Right.
No. I mean, probably would, but have you ever been truly happy, I guess?
Yeah. Do you think he is?
Was. I mean, I don't know that he is now.
Yeah.
I think he had moments, but I think, there might have been times where he was very happy in his personal life, but still he wouldn't have achieved what he wanted to achieve in his career. So to have the two aligned, I think is, it's like the Holy Grail, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone ever achieves that. I suppose what you're striving for, isn't it? To have the perfect mix.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that don't really know what happiness is. I'm not sure I do.
No.
What actually is happiness?
Yeah.
Content is probably as far as I could go.
It's sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
The best you can hope for is contentment.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a bit depressing, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on then. So, what's the most interesting thing about you that I don't know?
So I'm struggling to think of an interesting thing. I feel like I would have shouted about anything that was vaguely interesting about me. One of my happiest moments,
right?
Because as you know, I'm not a particularly agile person. I think I'm probably quite well known for that. But one of those standout memories for me was when I was at primary school, and we did a dance to Rock Around the Clock.
Right.
You probably don't even know that song that you do.
Yeah,
a rock and roll song,
yeah.
And we all had to dress up in this is the most exciting thing, in the 50s dresses.
Yeah.
And there were pink polka dot dresses. I mean, what's not to love?
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Company colours, I like it.
Yeah. And I loved that. I loved, because I'm not sporty, to actually work in a team. I don't think I was too bad. I mean, I probably was worse than I really remember, but yeah, it just felt like almost that was like a perfect moment, that I was able to do something that I'm not really very well known for, but it was so much fun to do this dance, and we performed it, in front of the school and parents. Yeah, it just felt really good. I don't know if that's interesting, but it was a good time. Thankfully, never repeated that. I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't do that for us now?
I mean, I don't think it would end well, would it?
Okay, fine. If you had to describe yourself in 3 to 5 words, how would you describe yourself?
Stubborn. They're going to be positive. No, I'm just going to go for it.
It can be whatever you want.
Stubborn.
Yep. Tick.
I'd like to think empathetic.
Yep.
And driven.
And would your friends describe you as that as well?
I don't know, actually. No, I don't think so. I don't think they see the driven part of me, because I keep work life fairly separate to friendships.
So they wouldn't say you were driven?
I don't think so.
But they'd say you were empathetic and...
Yeah, definitely sounds given. Yeah, no, that's a given. Yeah, I think they'd probably say quiet, maybe not.
It's just interesting how we change in our environment. So in the work environment, that's you. That's who you see yourself as. But they see yourself as someone very different.
Yeah, I think so. They don't see me in the work environment. I would say I'm quite different at work.
Right.
Than I am at home.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure they would like me in a work environment, to be honest.
No comment?
Great.
What would you like to leave behind?
Ooh. So a work legacy.
Yeah.
I guess it's more of an attitude, isn't it? Actually, that things, I think for so long, it's definitely not the case now, but for so long accounting stood still.
Right.
I wouldn't say that we are truly just accounting, are we? The legacy is that I hope that people would think, actually, we're more useful than they thought we would be.
Right.
So trying to change the perception of what accountants or someone with accounting knowledge can actually bring to a business, because we know, that lots of times we've been fundamental in big changes in people's businesses. I mean, through their action, but through things that we've noticed, talked about, focused on with them. And so I guess the legacy actually isn't necessarily Youtopia, it's the changes in other people's businesses that we've contributed to. That's the measure, I think, of our success.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. So what will be your biggest success that you haven't yet achieved?
I guess achieving that blueprint, isn't it? Of what I thought initially of us building this multi-million-pound business that was a brand that could infiltrate other businesses.
So that's what you're going to achieve?
Yeah, I think we're achieving it to an extent now.
Yeah.
Just on a bigger scale.
So it's just
to help more businesses.
Yeah.
And to keep evolving. I don't want the business that we've got today, I'm hoping, will bear no resemblance to the business we have in 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Well, the core values will be the same, but actually how we operate will evolve with technology and the people that we have around us.
Yeah. Okay, so I've asked you loads of questions. Is there anything that you would have expected me to have asked that I haven't? Maybe
what skills I bring to Youtopia.
So what skills do you bring?
Just the optimism, isn't it? That's my...
optimism, right? Stubbornness.
No, what do I bring? I guess it's the drive, isn't it, really? The keep wanting to move forward and improve standards. Nothing... We can be proud of what we've achieved, but let's just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
It's not really answered the question, is it?
No. What skills do you bring? You bring the skill of drive.
Drive, yeah. I'm quite skilled at, although I'm shy, I feel like I'm quite skilled at building good relationships with people.
You're bringing the relationship side of it,
so
the empathy, going back to what you do.
Yeah, and understanding, again, it's building on, businesses aren't just made with, hard facts. It's understanding other business owners, how they operate, what they value, and trying to kind of fuse the two, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you can only really do that if they trust you and want to hear what you say.
If you've enjoyed listening to our podcast, please like and follow, and make sure to tag us on social media.